Okay, to paint our reindeer winter scene, we're gonna first start by painting the snow. So I've got a big blue sheet of paper here, and I need to put my name and class code on it. Okay, and then flip that over. I'm gonna take my white paint here and my paintbrush, and I'm going to paint some snow at the bottom of my paper for the reindeer to be walking around in. And when I paint it, I don't want to paint it too tall because I want to leave enough space for my reindeer themselves. So I'm going to start down here at the bottom, and I'm going to make sure that I'm doing a good job of spreading my paint around. I don't want to leave what I call lazy paint. Paint's job is to fill in the space that you're trying to cover. And if you leave big blobs of paint left over, not only is it not filling in the space it needs to, it's also going to take a very long time to dry. So I want to make sure that I am spreading my paint out so it's covering my paper that I need to be white, and it's also going to dry quickly because I don't want it to leave big blobs that'll take a long time. You can paint your snow down here as a straight line, or you can maybe add in some kind of waviness to it to kind of make like drifts of snow, or maybe the ground underneath it is kind of hilly and the snow is kind of showing all of those different places in your land. Okay, so now that that's done, smoothed all my paint out. It's covering my paper. I am finished with my paintbrush, so I'm going to set that to the side. And then I'm going to use a Q-tip, and this is actually a Q-tip that's been cut in half because I only need one end of my Q-tip. So I'm going to take my Q-tip and I'm going to dip it into my paint, just the fuzzy end, and then I'm going to add some snowflakes in my sky that are falling down. Look at how many dots I can make before I have to go back and get more paint. I'm just gonna cover in my sky with some falling snow. Okay, now that my sky is covered in with snow, I'm going to throw away my Q-tip and put away my white paint and my paintbrush. So those are all cleaned up. And then I'm going to let this dry for a little bit before I start doing my reindeer. Okay, now that my paint is dry, I'm ready to start making my reindeer. And I'm going to use some brown paper for this. I'm going to need one rectangle, one square, and 5 skinny rectangles. Okay, this long rectangle is going to be for my reindeer's body, and I'm going to change this into a oval. By doing that, I'm going to cut off my 4 corners, closer to an oval but not quite there yet. I'm going to go back and cut off my other corners, but this time I'm going to make smaller, flatter cuts. And when I'm done, I will have an oval, just like that. Okay, throw my scraps away. And then I'm gonna change my circle, or my square, into a circle the same way. I'm gonna cut off my 4 corners. And now I'm going to go back with those smaller corners, and I'm going to cut smaller triangles off of each corner to give myself a circle. Okay, this oval and circle are going to be for the reindeer's head and body. Okay, so I'm going to glue on my oval here. Put a little glue there in the center. And I'm going to put him down there. I want to get him kind of close to my snow down here, but not right up against it. But I want to leave a little bit of a gap. Okay? And then I'm going to take my circle, and before I glue my circle on, I'm going to take one of my long skinny rectangles. This is going to be for the neck. And I'm going to put some glue on one end, and I'm going to stick it on my circle. Okay, just like so. Then I'm going to take some glue and put on the other end. And you remember how on my oval here I only put glue in the center? Here's why. I'm going to take my reindeer's neck and I'm going to slide it underneath just a little until I can only see a little bit of that rectangle in between. And I'm going to make sure that's glued down. And I need to put some glue here so that way my reindeer's head is also glued down. Here we go. Okay, so now I have the reindeer's body, head, and neck. And my other 4 rectangles are going to be the legs. So I'm going to put some glue here along the whole strip. And I'm going to take this one, and remember we only glued in the center, so I'm going to pull this up just a little and I'm going to sneak in one leg. And then 2 legs. I want to get them about the same length there. We don't want our reindeer to have some super short legs or one really long one. Okay, and I'll come back here to the back, sneak that in, stick it down. Okay, and there is one reindeer. Now that I've done that, I'm going to do it again with my second reindeer. Okay, now that I have my 2 reindeers made, I'm going to use black paint to add on their faces, hooves, and antlers. Okay, so here's my black paint. I'm going to use a skinny brush, and to help my brush stay nice and skinny, I'm going to put it in the paint, and then I'm going to spin it up against the edge like this. This pulls off some of the extra paint and then makes my paintbrush nice and pointy. Okay, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to do my antlers, and for the antlers we're going to do 2 lines going straight up and down. And I guess I can go a little bit of an angle like so. And then we'll add on some pieces to the side there. There's my antlers. There we go. Let's do the other reindeer. Okay, there's my antlers. Now let's put on my face. And we're only going to do eyes and a nose. And the reason is, usually a reindeer's face is very kind of pointy. His nose comes out and the mouth is kind of underneath. So when you're looking straight at them, you can't really see the mouth. Plus, it's also very hard to make a small curved line with our paintbrush. So we're just going to do a dot for each eye, and then a dot for the nose, dot for each eye, and then a dot for the nose. The very last thing we're going to do is down here at our feet, we're going to paint a line across the bottom of our reindeer's feet for the hoofs. And there you go. There's our reindeer winter scene.